Okay, in this video we're going to be checking out the SPC Maker C120, and this is actually just the C120 frame with the parts transferred over from the another SPC Maker model, the 110 VT, and here's the empty frame that I took all the parts out of. I did a video on this model already. I'll put a card in the corner if you want to see that flight demo and everything. Basically, if you look at the specs for the ready-to-fly C120 that comes from SPC Maker, it's the exact same parts, the same motors, props here, electronic stack, which is going to be your video transmitter, flight controller, and ESCs. Everything's exactly the same. The only difference is the camera. I just transferred over the camera that came with the 110 VT, which is in this case the Microswift 2 with the 2.1mm lens. The one that comes on the ready-to-fly C120 is the Micro Predator V2, and you can see here that the camera protection on this one is way better. You can see the camera is well protected here. If you look at it from the side, there's these side plates protect the camera. Whereas on the 110 VT, if you remember that video, the camera stuck out over here and the lens was completely exposed. So that was one of the downsides of this frame, is that the camera was further back, so you had more props in view, plus it had no protection to the camera lens itself. So it's one of the reasons why I didn't really fly this a whole lot. And when I saw that this model was coming out, I decided also it's going to transfer the parts over instead of actually buying the ready-to-fly model. I'll just transfer the parts over. And if you're wondering what the ready-to-fly would fly like, it would fly pretty much like this, because it's the same, basically the same motors, all the same parts and everything. As far as I know, nothing else is different. I just transferred all the parts over. It took literally like 10 minutes. I even transferred the little buzzer and LED over as well. There's a groove in the frame to transfer that over, and you can pick up the frame, I think, for like $21 or $22. Pretty inexpensive. And it comes painted already like this, so pretty nice. And I already had the Jump Van 2540 props. Obviously, if you don't want to build one, or you don't have a 110 VT to transfer parts over, you can just buy the ready-to-fly, and it just come with the same kind of bind and fly options. In this case, this comes with a FreeSky receiver. I believe Spectrum and FlySky options are also available. So in terms of flight characteristics, it should fly the same as this one here that I'm going to show in the flight demo, just that your video is going to look different with the Predator camera instead of the Microswift. So you get the Predator video quality versus the Microswift CCD video quality. So that's the only real difference in terms of what you'll see in the ready-to-fly version versus the one that I put together here. Now, another difference that I should make note of is I did update the firmware to the latest version of Betaflight 3.3.3, and also updated the firmware on the ESCs as well, 16.7. I obviously don't know what the PID tune would be on the ready-to-fly version of this, because I never got that. So I'll show you the PIDs for what I basically came up with on this one here, and that'll be at the beginning of the flight demo. You can look at those numbers, but I would recommend actually lowering the P gain, like maybe a little bit more, maybe another 5 points, and maybe the D gain as well, because the motors were fairly warm on that tune. Although I think that it's because it felt really locked in. I didn't really want to change it. So if you don't really like super warm motors, I would recommend lowering the values. But the motors weren't like extremely hot where I couldn't hold the motors. I just, if you don't like warm motors, then just keep that in mind. Although I do know that the Sunny Sky motors, these 1106 5500 kV motors, they do tend to run warm, and they did so on the 110 VT, but that had a totally different tune, different firmware and everything, and the PID values were also a lot lower on that one, so something else to keep in mind. Anyway, it's enough of me rambling on about this. I'll go ahead and show you some flight demo footage. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.